Have you ever found yourself lying awake at 3 in the morning, doing that frantic mental math? You're staring at the ceiling, calculating exactly how many years of work you have left, and wondering if you'll ever actually be able to retire. So you go online, you look up how much the average person retires with, and that number, it either makes you feel way too confident or it leaves you absolutely terrified. But here is the truth that financial experts rarely tell you to your face. That average number everyone throws around, it is a mathematical lie. Think about it like this. Imagine you're in a room with 9 people who are unemployed, and then Jeff Bezos walks in. On paper, the average net worth in that room is now over $100 million. But what's the reality? Those 9 people are still wondering how they're going to pay for lunch. That is exactly how retirement averages trick us. A handful of ultra-wealthy CEOs with 8-figure portfolios drag that average so high that it no longer reflects the reality for the rest of us. Instead of looking at the average, you need to look at the median. That's the true middle point. It's the only real mirror of what's happening in a normal person's pocket. And once we start breaking down that median number by age, the truth gets very scary very fast. Let's get into the actual numbers, because understanding the difference between the median and the mean is the key to not feeling like a complete failure. In America, wealth distribution looks like a hockey stick. It stays flat for most people and then suddenly spikes straight up for the ultra-wealthy. So if you want to know how you really compare to your peers, you have to look at your age bracket. Let's start with your 20s. For this group, the median retirement savings is basically zero. Now, before you panic, that's actually somewhat normal. You're dealing with entry-level salaries and student loans. If you have anything saved at 27, you're already ahead of the curve. By your 30s, the number starts to creep up. The median here is about $12,000. It sounds low, right? But remember, your 30s are when life happens. Houses, weddings, kids. If you're 35 with $20,000 in the bank, you're doing better than half of the people your age. Then we hit the 40s. This is supposed to be your peak earning period. The median jumps to around $60,000. It's progress, but it's still nowhere near enough to stop working. The real wake-up call happens in your 50s and early 60s. Retirement is no longer a future problem, it's right around the corner. For people approaching 65, the median savings is about $134,000. Think about that, $134,000 to last you 20 or 30 years. When you break it down, that's not a retirement plan, that's a crisis waiting to happen. Why does it feel so much harder for us than it did for our grandparents? It's because the system changed while we weren't looking. Back in the day, retirement was described as a 3-legged stool. You had your employer-paid pension, your personal savings, and Social Security. If one leg failed, the other 2 kept you upright. But today, that stool is basically a stick. First, let's talk about pensions. They're almost extinct. Companies realized they could save billions by making retirement your problem instead of theirs. They replaced guaranteed pensions with 401ks, shifting all the risk onto your shoulders. Now you're expected to be a part-time fund manager while working a full-time job. It's exhausting, and for many, it's just not working. Then there's Social Security. Many people treat this like a safety net, but it was never designed to be your entire income. The average check is about $1,700 a month. In most cities, that barely covers rent, let alone groceries or healthcare. And here is the kicker. Social Security is projected to run low on funds by 2034. Unless something changes, benefits could be cut by more than 20%. If your only plan for retirement is Social Security, your plan is poverty with extra steps. We've established that the system is broken and the savings are low. But there's one more factor that makes these numbers even worse: the debt trap. Now, you might hear another number that sounds much better. You might hear that the average net worth for people approaching retirement is around $1 million. You think, great, everyone is a millionaire. Crisis averted, right? Wrong. This is where the illusion of wealth hides the truth, because there's a massive difference between net worth and spendable cash. Most of that $1 million is tied up in home equity. It's the house they live in. And here's the problem. You can't eat your house. You can't pay for groceries or medical bills with a piece of your roof. Unless you sell your home or take out a reverse mortgage, that money is purely theoretical. But it gets even more complicated when we look at debt. The average person approaching retirement is carrying nearly $96,000 in debt. We're talking credit cards, car loans, and increasingly student loans. Yes, people are entering their golden years still paying off degrees from 30 years ago or co-signing for their kids. So let's do some brutal honesty math. Take that $170,000 in retirement savings, subtract the $96,000 in debt. You're left with about $74,000 in actual liquid cash. And remember, that's the average. If we look at the median, the typical person, the amount of actual cash they have left after debt is closer to $12,000. $12,000 to last you for the rest of your life. It's like being told you're a millionaire because you own a rare painting, but you're still starving because you can't find a buyer. You are house rich, but cash poor. I know, these numbers are heavy. It's easy to feel like the game is rigged and there's no point in even trying. But here is the good news. Knowing the truth is the first step towards changing your reality. If you're in your 20s or 30s, time is your greatest superpower. You don't need to be a genius, you just need to be consistent. If you're in your 40s or 50s and feeling behind, don't let panic turn into paralysis. You still have time to make massive moves if you act now. So what should you actually do? First, max out your employer match. If your boss offers to match your 401k and you aren't taking it, you're literally throwing away free money. That's a 100% return on your investment instantly. Don't leave that on the table. Second, automate your savings. Open a Roth IRA and set up a recurring transfer, even if it's just $50 a month. The goal is to build the habit until you can increase it by 1% every 6 months. You'll be surprised how quickly you adapt to living on a little less. Third, attack high-interest debt aggressively. Credit card interest is a parasite that eats your future. Paying it off is a guaranteed win for your net worth. The system might be broken and the average might be a lie, but your future hasn't been written yet. Don't wait for next month. Don't wait for a raise. Start today. Because every day you wait is a day of compound interest you can never get back. The choice is yours. What's your first move going to be?